with that failed tower dive at the beginning of the game. We are going to just pull that replay up, and Zyrene, I'm going to let you walk through it because that's going to be kind of our central talking point here. So we'll bring that up right now.
Yeah, I want to pick this apart for a second here before we roll it out and take people to dive school for a second, because turrets have two mechanics behind them. The first one is warming up, and the second one is heating up. Warming up buffs the turret up to 75% over 2 hits, increased damage. Then, once it starts focusing up and it's completely warmed up, it starts hitting a champion and buffing its damage versus that champion specifically. So, when we see this happen, it's going to hit Janna twice, and it's going to have that 175% increased damage. It's fully warmed up. Then it swaps to Impaler, and Impaler misses his EQ, misses his damage output onto Rumble, Balls holds his abilities, and we'll start rolling the clip here. And you're going to see here that when it starts hitting Impaler, it's going to be doing 200% increased damage to him and just obliterate him. Balls is not using abilities right now. He's waiting for the turret to swap aggro to one of his aggressors, and then he will turn on them while in the danger zone. And right there, you see it take him out so quickly, and that starts the snowball and gets Balls in a position where the duo lane can no longer handle him, and then nobody else in the game can handle him. He was at his rank 2 ultimate by the time that Chris had a rank 5 Q. It was just a huge level disparity. The CS, he had twice his CS, and then the side lane in the bottom, because you have a Rumble that now can duel your duo lane, your duo lane in the bottom lane is out-CSing that top lane duo. And that was the disaster there that started snowballing the game.
They didn't even burn Flash.
Yes, exactly. He still had that.
3:58 into this game. Well, this game is over.
Yep.
Was an unfortunate thing. And obviously Cloud9 executed the next 15 minutes of that lead pretty well. But honestly, like you say, if a 3-man dive works that early, it's hardly an advantage. Like, it's a small advantage. They're putting Rumble back. He was already level 3, so he had a win in itself from the experience. The fact that they did a 3-man dive and just made it even greater for the other side, it's a super lopsided disparity when dives like that go wrong.
And if you want to go.
Yeah, it's simply why we see the double jungle thing go on, right? The top lane and the jungler come together. Right. But they start out, the jungler's level 2, they share the next 2 camps. Now your Maokai's level 2. By the way, Twisted Advance into Jarvan flag and drag is free. Like, you actually can't do anything about that.
We got to land it, the flag and drag,
sure,
which
but
helps when you have a support that can CC someone.
Or you W with Maokai, right? If he had been double jungling 4-man dive. That's why we typically see, and Riv talked about it in the cast, but we normally see 4-man dives because they're much more reliable. Greedy from Coast, didn't pay off, skill shots missed. Good job by Balls to dodge everything. Okay, the game went from there. Bouncing off that, though, right? Okay, your top lane's winning by a bit. You have maybe 1,000 gold lead from all this. Coast managed to have that become a 5,000 gold lead. And there's something you've got to do between that and 20 minutes that's got to be good. Imperial needs to show up to lanes, reset the waves, don't let those freezes happen forever. Use your jungler to make those lanes turn back around and at least get the golden XP coming back in. A 3-level disadvantage is not what should happen from that.
Yeah, and exactly. Impaler got into the mindset of, I dove, I lost my buffs, I have to go farm my jungle now, instead of do damage control on what he did to that lane. And then they swapped it back, and Chris really couldn't do anything in that lane. He was zoned completely, throwing saplings for CS, and missing a lot of it too, because the sapling damage is so low. It was just completely unideal situation across the board for Coast because of that one play. And Jessus is not going to take over the game. He's the type of mid laner who is a resource to his team. He's not the type of mid laner where you put resources into him and then he carries the game.
So I'll play devil's advocate on that point.
Okay.
Yes, he messed up the dive, but he is now a Jarvan who's level 3, lost his double buffs, and doesn't have flash. And he has a Xerath on his team against LeBlanc. He's not ganking that.
No.
Is he going to gank for his Lucian Jan lane? So, the only thing he can do is farm. Like, I think the gank in itself was what threw the game for them, but like that's why I said this game is over.
Right.
Because he can't do anything but farm after
I'm not saying gank. I'm definitely not saying gank. I'm saying shove lanes to break freezes. Because this is what Cloud9 did, is because they had such an advantage, no one tried to break any freezes, right? Maokai can't walk up and like mess with Rumble. Like we saw multiple clips of Balls sitting there, slowly last hitting, keeping 6 caster minions alive, and every time his wave shows up, it would get cleared. Have Jarvan show up, QE the wave, don't jump into it, just clear the minions off, bounce it off the turret, and then now Maokai can actually stay in XP range without being afraid of Vi.
There's not much to talk about this game. I feel like 2 things mattered in this game, the dive and Banner of Command.
Let's move to Banner. I really want to talk about Banner. That is such an amazing item. Like, the only thing you can really do is like walk up, and I believe you can smite those minions still to get some damage on it, but you can't do anything with it. The long-range Xerath poke, the Chris poke, the fact that Meteos stood in front of it was brilliant. And I know, like, Banner of Command, I want to see it more often. I want to see it a lot more often. Like, I know that it's actually kind of good against Kassadin. Kassadin has to walk up and auto-attack it to clear it. It's really good against that champion.
I want to touch on another thing within the game, and I think we can all agree, we all agree that the failed gank top lane did put Coast back a large amount. Now, whether or not there were a few smaller things that could have lessened that gold deficit, I want to look at how Cloud9 played the gold advantage and how Coast can improve playing from behind, what they can look to do to better deal with situations like that. So with Cloud9 first, they gave up 2 kills for nothing later at 2 separate occasions later in the game with a massive gold lead. And in my opinion, it was because they had a very distinct lack of warding deep into the jungle. They were warding heavily in the bottom river to control Dragon, but aside from that, they were then walking into the red side jungle, roaming into the red side jungle with no vision, got caught in death brushes.
Yeah, so... Oh, go for it.
No, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so certainly there was some element of C9 over-aggressing. We saw the bot lane tier 2 dive was a bit flubbed. Thing is, they made the same choices over and over again, just sometimes it worked. Like, when they dove bot lane tier 2, it was the exact same decision-making as when they, like, Vi ulted, I think it was Impaler on, like, the red buff. Like, they don't have vision behind where they're diving in just because the wards aren't there. In one case, there was a Xerath and a Maokai teleporting in one case, there wasn't. So one of these didn't work, one of these did. And like 80% of those fights do actually work out. I can't say it's necessarily a horrible idea for C9, but their risks all the same because you can't have literally perfect vision. That said, though, Coast have now twice in a row shown that they are very good at just showing up somewhere and death brushing you. It's very good by them. They're trying to make these plays to get back in. C9 needed to respect that a bit better and realize that, hey, look, Coast is going to show up on you guys at some point. Be a little bit less aggressive, maybe.
Yeah, see, as you can see, there's not much to say about that game. The Cloud9 over-aggression being punished for it, like he said, you can't have perfect ward control of all areas of the map, but the fact that they got those picks a little too late in the game, mid-game composition is going to come online here. Like I said, the Rumble ulti at rank 2, the base damages are really high. They catch somebody out, but then Cloud9 was really good to punish that and just get a tier 2 turret for it. Like, there were a lot of times that they are able to get something in return and making these exchanges. So I think that Cloud9 actually know how to play against being picked off with one person fairly well. The overaggression and like the desire to close the game out very quickly is something that might bite them if they were more even. But I think like the calls at that point, they're kind of like, we're phoning this in, we're so far ahead that I don't fault them for the sloppy plays later on.
Yeah, definitely a strong showing, regardless, for Cloud9 there. We are going to step away while Counterlogic Gaming and Gravity load in for our next match. So keep it tuned right here. The LCS returns after this.
This is bigger than us. This isn't just about Coast anymore. This is about underdogs all over the world. This is much bigger than us. We're showing them that you can stand up to the man today, boys.
This is going to be on to balls. They missed the flag and drag. He should be okay for the time being here. Now Impaler takes the hit. That's going to be double bust over to top lane. And that's what Coast wants. They go to dive in. Meteos onto Impaler. He's going to fall immediately. He's just having a heyday. Oh, what an equalizer. The team is forced to split. 30 minutes in. It's a win by Cloud9.